Hello, lovely ladies. Today we're going to be talking about how your cycle impacts how you show up in your relationships, in your marriage, and your courting process for marriage, and just in general, how it shows up in your life. Your cycle is incredibly important. It gives so much information and cues into your well-being, not just physically, but also emotionally, spiritually, mentally, sexually. It's important, it's imperative to know your cycle fully, to observe yourself, to observe your body, and to know how it affects your showing up for relationships.
Mm-hmm. So I do have a few questions for you, and we can talk about this. One of the first things I think is important, just to kind of gloss over, are what are the four phases of the cycle? What are they called? And then, what are they characterized by? I know it's different for each woman, but
yeah, so it's actually not different for each woman. Every woman has her four phases, but it just kind of varies in length and the symptoms of it. Generally, it is the same. And so we have our menstrual, the follicular, the ovulation, and then the luteal. The menstrual, obviously, that's pretty clear, is when you bleed. And each woman has a different bleeding cycle in terms of length of days, how heavy it is, the flow, all of that. The follicular is when the hormones are rising a little bit more and there's a little bit more energy, maybe just feeling a little bit better. It's kind of like that, like you're finally done with your period, you're feeling a lot more confident. And then ovulation's like that peak, like it's really only a few days, less than like 3 days. And so that is really important to make clear. It's when our energy is the highest, feeling the most confident, and then we go into luteal. And I always say like the first half of the luteal is different from the second half of the luteal, and you know that very well from our marriage. But luteal is like that where the memes kind of come from, and if you're on the online space or in the meme world, you kind of know that your luteal is that like sluggish, not feeling the best, not feeling confident. And so all of these different phases actually impact how you show up in the dating sphere.
And that is my first question. So you kind of get different perspectives or different states of being throughout the cycle.
Yeah.
And so how can you use those to vet a man over time, let's say?
Yeah. So definitely, again, like it gives context. It gives a lot of information, awareness on how you're showing up within your own body, right? So, and this is something that takes practice. It takes time to be able to say like, okay, in my menstrual phase, I am deeply isolated, or I want to be in my own little bubble, in my own little world. I don't want to be communicating with people. I might be super reflective. I have clients that I work with that will come in and they're like, every week that I see them, it's the same thing. And all of a sudden 1 week is just like, Selena, I've been thinking about this like guy that I dated in high school, and he just popped up in my head, and I'm like, are you in your luteal? Like, are you about to bleed soon? And they're like, how'd you know? Right? And it's just this, a lot of reflection is happening in the second half of the luteal, and then the period as well, the menstrual phase. And so that's how it was for me. It's actually how it is for many women. If you're actively getting like a full cycle and all your like hormones are checked out. Obviously I'm not a doctor, so get that checked out if you do find that it's inconsistent. So it just gives us a lot of context. And in the like reflection phase, a lot of what I experience is this deep inner desire for conversation, for depth, for emotions to just show up. It's not actually always conversation, but it is a lot of emotion that might be coming up.
I've noticed for you, a lot of the latter half of the luteal is very existential.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's like the grander, bigger questions of like, why are we doing something? The intentions of something. Where are we moving towards?
Yeah.
It's like you want clarity on the very, very large things, which is very different from the other portions of the cycle.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other portions of the cycle do have a lot of information there as well. It just won't be in the same capacity. So, I learned myself through my cycle, and I did that for years before even getting to that point of like vetting for marriage or courting for marriage, because I knew that it was important for the person that I am with to know myself, to know me, because I know myself, right? I'm not just like coming from this place of confusion when my period comes around, or almost like this confusing, like, why are you starting arguments type of energy. But the reality is I'm just like going through some stuff internally. It's my emotions that are coming up. It's fear, it's anxiety, it's not knowing, like, are we going to be able to get through this hump? Are we going to be able to get through this thing? And these are all natural parts of being a woman.
Yeah. And kind of a side note, but as a man, and what I tell my friends as they're going through this courting phase and dating, looking for marriage, is that when you start to get committed to a woman, her cycle, just being close to a woman or getting to know her a little bit more, her cycle will force the man to experience more emotions than he has for the past 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, in the 1 month span where she moves from, you know, the existential things to like sadness, to isolation, to maybe even anger, and then, you know, this like when the follicular phase hits, or the ovulation,
the love,
the energy, the like relentless energy, you know, like the go-getter, and it's like you have this whole span of emotions in a month. And one of the important things I think as a man is you need to be able to handle the emotional like variety. And if you can't, then there are going to be certain phases of the cycle that you are not going to be like good with as a man.
Yeah. Which leads me to my question. How did you experience my cycle in our courting phase? And how do you experience it now within our marriage? Was any of it shocking or surprising?
Yeah, I actually did a lot of research on the cycle before talking to you, or even just like throughout the dating process of talking to other people.
That's how I knew I had a good one. That's how I knew it.
I knew that it was really important. I have 2 sisters. Like, I know that they were going through their cycle, and like I could see myself that they were different throughout their cycle, and it was something that had to be respected. You can't just as a man like throw it away and be like, no, this is just mumbo jumbo.
Or
like
force them to be like you.
Exactly. Or like expect the woman to be constant, as constant as a man. And so I actually, as soon as you told me that you were on your period, I started tracking from the first from the first time you told me you were on your period. I was like, okay, I got it. It's locked in. And so since then, that was literally the first period that I experienced with you over the phone. I've been tracking your cycle ever since. Of course, not to the day or whatever, but like I know.
I mean, pretty much though. It's so funny because like I would definitely urge you, like all my ladies, to go look up what you need to be eating, how you need to be working out, all of those things, like according to your cycle, because a lot of it changes. So this is funny because I don't even know if he realizes that it's conscious, but I bring it up in my sessions with clients. Like, you will like make a steak. You will go to the store, no matter what, you'll buy some steak, because steak is very like, beef is great, iron obviously, during the period, during the menstrual, during the luteal phase. And so you'll just naturally like go to the store and be like, I'm gonna make some steaks tonight. And it's like, oftentimes it's like during the luteal, like a few days before my period, or like ground beef bowls, or like something with that, right? Taking up more chores than normal, like doing the dishes when I'm like, I can't do this. Like, these are all things that I like almost like at this point it's like expected, but you just take that on, and it's just something I like really, really appreciate. Yeah. Do you notice that you do that?
Yeah, I mean, it's I find myself, obviously I'm still tracking your cycle, and I know which times of the phases of the cycle you're on and what you like. But when we were recording, when we were dating, I didn't know that, but that was something I was figuring out.
Yeah.
And so now that we're married and we're living with each other, I know to get a steak from Stop and Shop. Like,
do you consciously do it?
Yes, I do.
You do?
I do, yeah. I do. And I don't plan certain things or like certain activities if you're on your period. Maybe if it's more active, I wait until you're on your follicular or you're ovulating. Like those types of things.
Yeah.
And to answer your question of how I experienced your different phases of the cycle is like, I think when we were first dating, in the first 2 months of us talking, your late luteal was really difficult for me because it was like, this isn't gonna work. This isn't gonna work. What are we doing? Like, we're not gonna get through this.
Yeah.
It's done. Like, it was like, oh my gosh, like, do I sit here with you and just like hear you out? Do I give you reassurance? Like, what would be best for you right now? And it just seemed like for me, I was hitting a wall of like, no, like we need to know more. We need to like be more clear about things. That was really difficult. But since then, I've kind of learned to expect that, and even like prepare for myself of like, what are we doing this for? How can I reassure you? How can I be more certain in where we're moving? I think now that actually the harder part now, I think, is your follicular, where it's like all right, you're like out of the period, you're go-getter. It's like, now I want to do everything. I want to go get everything. I want to do everything. And for me, going from the like period of like, I just want to sit home and watch TV and like just take care of myself, eat good food, to like, now we got to go out in the world and do great things. It's like such a stark, quick contrast that I think that for me right now is kind of the most difficult part of it.
Yeah. What was it like in the early phases? Like, how did you experience? Because every woman's going to be different. Like, your sisters are different from me, obviously. Yeah. And what is that like to experience? I guess the question is there ever a point where for your friends or for yourself that it was like, this is too much? Like, it's too much. I can't do this. It's overwhelming.
I don't think it was ever too much with you. I don't think it was like, I can't stand this. It was more of like, I'm lost. I don't know what to do right now.
Yeah.
It's like how can I get through this? How can I make sure that we both come out of this like unscathed, almost like still remaining respectful, still working through it together.
Yeah.
Because as soon as the man feels like this is too much, it's done. Like, in my mind, that man is not committed enough. Because if he can't handle 1 or 2 cycles, how is he going to handle childbirth? How is he going to handle postpartum, all these types of things?
Right.
So
yeah, it's a really big sign if someone is like, oh, I can't do this. Like, it's and I think as a woman, you have to like gracefully leave. Just kind of be like, it's not my person, and I'll just kind of keep it at that.
Yeah.
Especially because, well, the difficult part here is, as a woman, like I said from the beginning of the video, you need to know yourself. You need to know your cycle. You need to know, what comes up, what's happening. I just met with a client last week, and I explained to her all the cycles. We went through it all in great detail. And then I told her, like, what do you notice about your menstrual luteal phase? And she's like, oh, I'm like pretty fine. Like, there's not really many emotions that come up for me during that phase. I'm pretty stable. I'm good with work. I'm good with all of it. And so she was going to start her period like maybe a day or 2 after we met that session. Boom. Next week comes around. We're in our session. I'm sitting with her. I'm like, what did you notice about your luteal and period? Oh, I cried 3 times this week at work. And I'm like, okay. So we're noticing emotions like coming up. And we're noticing it's overwhelm, it's sadness, it's anger, it's all of these things that are coming up. It's a sense of loss of purpose, like a lost sense that is no longer there for whatever reason, right? So these are all things that are coming up naturally. She didn't go and quit her job. She didn't go and make any decisions that were like rash, right? She stuck through it. She felt her emotions. She cried it out, and we talked about it, right? In our sessions. And so that is incredibly important, that you're not just like making those like you're not making these actions. Yeah. You're just reflecting, you're noticing, you might be sharing them, you might be going to your friends, you might be going to your partner, you might be going to God, right? Like, that's a really big thing that I did, especially in like courting or just being single, intentional singleness. I went to God about everything. Like, I'm feeling so anxious right now. Will I ever get married to the man that I like, that's meant for me? Like, who is it, God? Like, who is it? And that is something I felt in my luteal, my menstrual so heavily. And so like, I went to God about it, right?
Yeah, one of the questions that I wanted to ask was like, actually the first I want to make a point of that, like, imagine you throughout the entire cycle, all the different emotions you're feeling, you make decisions, long-term decisions every time you feel a strong emotion throughout the cycle. It's like it could lead you nowhere.
Yeah.
It could lead you to places that you don't want.
Yeah.
You could sabotage things that you actually want in longer term if you really take those emotions and, like you said, like behave because of them or decide big things because of them instead of just sitting through them and letting them happen.
Yeah.
So my question was, which portions of the cycle would you say women have to be the most careful about making decisions around?
Yeah, I would definitely say luteal and menstrual. For me personally, once I get my period, and I know this is kind of a trend for a lot of clients I work with, is like luteal is like the more difficult phase, but then once they get their period, it's like, oh, it's fine. Like, I was just on my period. Like, I just knew I was gonna get my period soon, and so that's kind of like usually it ends up being okay. And I don't know how you experience my period, but it's like I'm not really like bedridden or anything like that. Alhamdulillah, like I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on my energy levels. I'm not like struggling or anything like that, like, you know, overly like bleeding or overly cramping. I do cramp, but it's not like an intense amount. And so that's kind of like out the way. But I would definitely say during those phases is when you have to be like pretty careful. I know the last 2 days of my period where like kind of we're going into follicular, where I'm spotting, like that's when it's like a lot of emotions can come up because I just like finished shedding, right? And now I just finished shedding and I'm like anew, like, oh, like brand new now. And so that's definitely like a really big moment too, where you have to be really cautious and careful and preserve yourself, preserve your energy. Don't like make any decisions that you're not certain of.
What do you think is like the most common thing that might happen if you do make decisions then? Like you're acting out of a place of what?
Yeah, like just pure emotion, pure raw emotion, not really, you might have reflected, but it might just be kind of intensity, like an intense feeling that might be coming up. I definitely have a lot of those. I had a lot of those until I was able to sit with my emotions. And I hear a lot of women talking about their emotions in an intellectual way, but they're not actually feeling their emotions. And so that's a really, really important part of it. Like on your period, are you crying, right? Like, are you letting it go? I'm not a super big crier these days, but we'll watch movies or we'll go. We used to go to the movie theater a lot when I was on my luteal period. We haven't done it this past cycle, but it's something that helped to like let out all the emotions, right? So not just thinking about them, not just like having it all appear, but letting it out. Like I have my journal that I would go to, or again praying about it, using those spaces to reflect, to let it out.
Yeah, that makes sense. To not just observe the emotions, but actually feel them throughout your body, so that they're not stored.
Yeah,
you know, so you're not
like
filling up, holding it throughout cycles and cycles.
Yeah, which is essentially what a lot of women will do, right? Is this like, he did this thing to me 5 years ago. It's like, well, it's 5 years ago. Like, why are we still thinking about that, reflecting on that? Like, let it go, feel it out, actually feel it in your body and release it from you. It's really, really important that you're not just holding, like sitting with it this whole entire time. Otherwise it will just build up one thing after another.
I do have one last question. So how would you describe how would you describe how a man should help or just be present or be there for his woman who's moving through the changes of her cycle? How would you describe what a healthy man should do?
In dating?
Yeah, whether you're dating or you're engaged or even if you're married, like how should the man show up throughout the entire cycle?
Yeah, almost as this like stable. I always think back to like our second month of marriage or something, and we were like getting into it, especially during my period. And you had said like you're just like holding a stake in the ground and you're like weathering the storm. So yeah, being that constant of like I'm here here no matter what. We'll get through this. And we talked about that in my last video, is that like I could sense like you were not gonna just like ditch me. We were gonna get through it. And you vocalized that. You didn't just vocalize it, but it was an energy that could be felt. Like it wasn't just an abandoning that was happening. And that is a really, really, really big part of it.
Yeah, I've heard men who are like, oh, when my woman is on her period, I just leave her alone. Like I just like I stay out of the house, or I go do something else with my life. And that could probably be appreciated by some women. Like maybe they do really need that space, but to kind of just do this broad brushstroke of like, when she is in this phase of her cycle, I am going to do this. That is like separate from her. Like I know that emotions can be difficult for us men. It is difficult, but to escape from it, I think, is really not doing either of you a service.
It's the easy way out, right? You're not really helping, you're not supporting, and it's like, it's more difficult to definitely go down the other route of being there, like trying to see what does she want. And oftentimes just having preventative conversations is really important. We had a lot of those conversations before we got married, right? It's like, I explained the cycle, right? You already knew a lot about the cycle, but I explained it to you in my way, how it affects me. And again, like, you as a woman need to know your cycle before. You can't just like assume he's going to do the work for you, or like put that burden on him. You have to be able to say, I need comfort when I'm on my period. I need reassurance when I'm in my luteal, when I'm on my period. I need space, if that's what you need. You need to observe your cycle. When I told that girl that I was working with, and I'm still working with her, we're tracking the entire cycle, right? And she's like noticing all these things because it's important. And she, under the assumption before we started meeting, that like, oh, I don't really know, like I have no real emotions. Whatever people say about luteal, menstrual, like I don't really feel like that intensity. Oh, well, you just cried 3 times in the week, so obviously you do. Like there's something coming up. And we will not see that just based on that one cycle or 1 week. We'll see that through time, right? A trend through time. Data collector, right? Like you like see the trends through time. It's not just you could collect one thing of data and that's it, right?
Yeah, and I was gonna say, like, just because you have those preventative conversations, each cycle is going to be different, because you're gonna have cycles in the winter that are different from the cycles in summer. And then like your body, like you've mentioned before, your body remembers based on what season it is and what happened the year before and all these things. And so maybe one cycle on your period, you want to cuddle up and just watch a movie. And then the next cycle, you actually do want space alone. So you can't have these like rule-based systems. It really is like, okay, for me, when I'm tracking how you want, like what you want throughout the cycles, it's like most of the time you want X, Y, and Z. But there will be other times where it's not that. And you need to be honest. Like as the woman, you need to kind of have the honesty or the confidence in your body to be like, hey, this time it's different. Like I want this now.
And I think naturally it does level itself out. Like I had my EMDR training last cycle, right? Or this previous cycle that we just went through. I just finished my luteal, starting on my period in that moment. And I knew there was like a lot of information, a lot of emotions that were coming up. And so it was almost like naturally you knew that like there was going to be a little bit of reflection or conversation or space or whatever that I needed in that moment. It's important, again, like you said, for each woman to know what she needs and to be able to request it. So if it is like, hey, I'm getting my period soon, like talk about your period. Talk about your, like, it's so taboo. I don't care. Like, it's just like, talk about your period to the men that you're vetting, talking to, in relationship with. Talk about your period. Really, like you need to. You can't just like sit there and like hold it internally and never bring it into the space. Like it connects you with that person. Granted, he's a safe safe man, like it should connect both of you together and not be this like taboo, disgusting thing. Like, again, we don't want to create more shame around our bodies. We want to accept our body. We want to accept that it's wise. It's not an inconvenience to have your period. It's not inconvenient to have your luteal. It gives you information, right? And like the worries are valid. Everything that you experience is valid. You have to be able to observe yourself and then relay that to the person that you're with or talking to. So that's pretty much it. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope you liked the contents of this video. Stay tuned for our next one. Bye.